Welcome to OSBT Standard Procedure 40, Lockout, Tagout, Employee Education. Purpose: the Lockout, Tagout, LOTO program covers the servicing and maintenance of machines and equipment in which an unexpected energize or startup of the machines or equipment or release of stored energy could cause injuries to employees. HSSE Department responsibilities: is responsible for administrating this program and has full authority to make necessary decisions to ensure its success, and has the complete authority to halt any operations where there is a risk of employee injury associated with the uncontrolled release of energy. The HSSE Department will review and evaluate this LOTO program on an annual basis, and changes occur to the OSHA standards that mandate review. The HSSE Department will identify the machines and equipment that fall within the scope of the program, identify those employees authorized to perform lockout-tagout procedures, oversee the documentation of procedures for locking and tagging out the equipment, ensure employees receive the requisite safety training, and ensure periodic inspections and record keeping are conducted. Managers and supervisors have the ultimate responsibility for the implementation, maintenance, and success of this energy control program. The responsibilities are generally delegated to the named and documented HSSE Management supervisor, if any, and the affected employees themselves. In addition, management will ensure that each machine and equipment that falls under the scope of this program is properly evaluated, provide the necessary lockout-tagout equipment, ensure proper employee safety training, establish and enforce safe operation rules and procedures. Employees, partners are authorized to service equipment, must comply with our lockout-tagout procedures. Authorized and affected employees will not attempt to energize equipment being serviced or attempt to remove locks or tags placed on the equipment by other authorized employees. Authorized and affected employees will attend training sessions. General requirements. Many employee injuries happen around machinery of some type. Often the accident involves electrical shock, burns, or exposure to hazardous materials or unexpected moving machinery. There are many sources of injury which can provide power to a machinery. These include gravity, electrical, mechanical, chemical, hydraulic, pneumatic, thermal, and nuclear. Servicing and/or maintenance, which will take place during normal production operations, is covered by this standard only if an employee is required to remove or bypass a guard or other safety device, an employee is required to place any part of his or her body into an area on a machine or piece of equipment while the work is actually performed upon the material being processed, point of operation. The employee is required to place any part of his or her body into a danger zone associated with the machine operating cycle. Energy control procedure. The energy control procedure must include at least the following elements: a statement of the intended use of the procedure, the procedural steps in order to shut down, isolate, block, and secure machines or equipment. Energy control procedure continued. The steps designating the safe and effective placement, removal, and transfer of the LOTO devices and who has the responsibility for them. The specific requirement for testing machines or equipment to determine and verify the effectiveness of locks, tags, and other energy control measures. Provisions for notifying affected employees before LOTO devices are applied and after they are removed from the machine or equipment. The procedural steps for shutting down and securing machines or equipment must include the following steps: preparing for shutting down the machine or equipment, applying the LOTO devices to the energy isolating device, safely releasing all potential hazards, stored or residual energy, verifying the effective isolation of the machine or equipment prior to the start of servicing or maintaining activities. Before LOTO devices are removed and energy is restored to the machines or equipment, take the following steps after servicing is complete. Ensure that the machine and equipment components are operationally intact. Verify that all employees are safely positioned or removed from the equipment. Ensure that the LOTO devices are removed from the energy isolating device by the employee who applied the device. Ensure that all safety devices are placed back onto service. Energy isolating devices. If an energy isolating device is not capable of taking a lockout device, then the tagout device is required. If an energy isolating device is capable of being locked out, the energy control program must utilize lockout unless the employer can demonstrate that the utilization of the tagout system will provide a full employee protection. Full employee protection. When a tagout device is used on an energy isolating device that is not capable of lockout, attach the tagout device to the same location where the lockout device is normally attached. In demonstrating what an equivalent level of safety is achieved, full compliance with the tagout provisions of the OSHA standard is required, along with additional means to ensure safety. Whenever repair or major replacement, renovation, or modification of machine or equipment is performed, and whenever new machines or equipment are installed, we will ensure that the energy isolating device designed for such machine or equipment has the capacity to accept a lockout device. Requirements for LOTO devices. OSBT will provide locks, tags, chains, wedges, key blocks, self-locking fasteners, and other hardware for isolating, securing, or blocking the machines or equipment from energy sources. The HSSE Department will ensure that the devices are singularly identified, only used for lockout, tagout purposes, and to meet the following requirements. The devices are capable of withstanding the environment to which they are exposed. Lockout and tagout devices are standardized in at least one of the criteria: color, shape, or size. In the case of a tagout devices, print and format is standardized. The devices are assignments to authorized employees only. Both lockout and tagout devices are substantial. Lockout devices are not removable without the use of excessive force, and tagout devices are not substantial enough to prevent accidental or inadvertent removal. Tagout devices are constructed and printed to remain legible when exposed to weather, wet, damp conditions, or corrosive elements. Tagout devices must warn against hazardous condition if the machine or equipment is energized and shall not include a legend such as "Do not start," "Do not open," "Do not close," "Do not energize," "Do not operate." Lockout devices and tagout devices must indicate the identity of the employee applying the device. Additional requirements: testing or positioning of machines, equipment, or components. In situations where lockout or tagout devices are temporarily removed from the energy isolating device and the machine or equipment energized to test or position the machine, equipment, or components, we will follow this sequence of actions. Clear the machine of equipment, of tools, or materials. Remove employees from the machine or equipment area. Remove the lockout, tagout devices as specified in the written procedures. Energize and proceed with the testing and positioning of the equipment. De-energize all systems and reapply energy control measures to continue the servicing or maintenance. Outside contractors or other personnel. Whenever outside servicing personnel are engaged in activities covered by the scope and application of this program, our program administrator and the outside employer, our contractor, must inform each other of their respective lockout tagout procedures. Our program administrator will ensure that our companies understand and comply with the restrictions and the prohibitions of the outside employer's energy control program. Training. Employers must provide training to ensure that the purpose and function of the energy control program are understood by the employees and that the employees have the knowledge and skills required with the safe application used to remove of the energy controls. The training must include the following. Each authorized employee will receive training in the recognition of applicable hazards of energy sources. The HSSE Department is responsible for ensuring that instruction is given to each affected employee in the purpose of the use of energy control procedure. The HSSE Department is responsible for ensuring that instruction on the lockout tagout procedure is given to all other employees whose work operations are in the area or in the energy control process utilized. This concludes Lockout Tagout. Please copy-paste the hyperlink into your browser to begin the quiz now.